I wanted to show you my sit-down cocktail drum kit, modeled after your design. I was very grateful you posted that on YouTube, how you constructed yours. I watched it many times. I'm not actually a drummer. I am, in fact, as you can see, a bassist. But I teach a jazz combo class, and we have a small space, and so I wanted to get a minimal kit for one of my drummers to play. Uh, None of these pieces are as good as the ones you have. They were all, except for one, donated to me over the years by my students. This is the only thing I bought. This is the Gretsch Mighty Mini 10-inch by 5.5-inch snare. Sold for 80 bucks online. I love it. It just, I like the sound right out of the box. It sounds to me very much like a lot of piccolo snares I've heard. It's probably not as good as that PDP one you bought, but it was not nearly as expensive. So as you can see, one thing I didn't do that you did is I kept it simpler and just mounted things directly to the legs of the floor tom. Both the snare with a clamp and this ball and socket rotator, and then the cymbal over here, which I'll show you in a minute. But otherwise, I pretty much followed your design. This old bass drum pedal, kick drum pedal, I managed to get flipped upside down after finding the right Allen wrench to take it apart. And so I'm not going to crawl all the way under there. You know what it looks like. And then I thought this was ingenious what you did with the coat hanger. I just went to the hardware store and got some 10-gauge electrical wire, and it serves great as a pedal stopper for that thing. Then I particularly loved your design of mounting your 10-inch tom. Once again, this PDP 10-inch tom was gifted to me, and I just, I did buy this piece of hardware, and then I had to buy a few clamps. But otherwise, everything else was a gift. These are not great hats, but they serve the purpose. The Yamaha hi-hat stand's pretty good. And then, pretty much just wanted to show you the end of it. Another clamp here for the cymbal arm. This is an 18-inch crash ride Zildjian. It's, as I said, not outstanding, but does the trick. The floor tom is an ancient Ludwig 16-inch floor tom. So it's certainly not as deep, and I've been struggling a little. I do need to tune it. One thing I hadn't thought about that I should have occurred to me is anytime you hit this, either on the top or the bottom side, everything else attached to it is going to resonate. And so the tuning of the top head and the tuning of the bottom head are, of course, something that has to be figured out. But it's great. I think it's going to serve the purpose really well for the minimum space I have. And once again, I thank you greatly for taking the time to post your video on how you constructed yours, and it has worked out great for me.